Maxie,
what's up, Keenan?
I got some rest yesterday, but it's been exciting 10 days. Now we have to talk all about it. JQ was supposed to join us, but then he said he doesn't feel like it, so he's not going to join us. Who knows? He might join us. He might not. We don't know. He said he might. We might be graced with his presence, but we shall see. But we got to talk about the 2024 IFMAR World Championships. And before we do that, we're going to drop our intro. Let's get it done.
Nitro is the glory, but e-buggy pays the bills. Welcome to the No Name RC Podcast. Get ready for some serious bench racing. But be warned, we speak our minds, express our thoughts, and sometimes things can get a little rowdy.
Hate, and he just was influenced by the hate coming from the left, the hate coming from the right.
And let's get back to more club racing and less of this grabbing racing.
It's hard not to be arrogant when you're always right.
See what I mean? That's exactly why people call you arrogant, Max.
You may not agree with everything we say, but it's definitely worth a listen.
And our pick, can you stop whatever you're doing?
Join your host, Lefty the Great, with co-hosts and guests as they get together to chat RC.
Hey, after that race that I watched this morning, I have to talk about it.
Here we go. $100 right here, $100 throw. Oh no!
I like this.
Yes, indeed. Nitro's the glory. E-Buggy isn't paying no bills on this podcast this week because it's all about the Nitro. Welcome to show number 296, Maxie. I'm your host, Keenan White, aka Lefty the Great, over to my very far virtual left, who has redeemed himself immensely over the last week and won over the hearts of many people of many years of being a prick on the podcast. Is best of everything, Maxie.
I have to immediately rebut because I don't really know why would anyone consider me a prick. Like there's absolutely no reason for that.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh really? Well, we'll talk about that and more as we go on. What's up, everybody? Welcome to our 2024 IFMAR Nitro Buggy IC Off-Road Fuel European.
What, you want me to do it?
Yeah, you just do it. I've said it so much I forgot. Our world's recap, dude. Yeah. I was very excited to get to do this podcast. So super excited to do this. We're going to talk about it. I hope JQ joins us. You should send him a message and say, hey, you should join us because we just started at some point. Before we go on any further, I got to say some big thank yous to everybody out there. Thank you to everybody that tuned in to our coverage there of the 2024 World Championships. Thank you to everybody that supports the NNRC squad around the world. We appreciate you guys. Thank you to all the patrons and YouTube members as well. Thank you for the extra support. We're going to do a Patreon-only podcast, and we got to start growing that Patreon. That's one of the things we need to do, and I hope you guys can go over there. We're going to do a Patreon podcast with one of our good friends here shortly. I hopefully can do it this week as well. But you get things like early access to these podcasts, which you will get today, and you're going to get the video of. You guys got to see some cool stuff already in the Patreon this week that nobody else is going to get a chance to see. So check it out. Go over there and check it out and help us out a little bit. Big shout out to all these companies. Without them, we couldn't do this. They are Invisible Speed, High Tech RC, Corsatec USA, Sidewinder Fuel, Mayako Beach RC, Techno RC, Clinic RC, Stacked RC, Racecraft USA. A big shout out to our official drivers, Dave Runafelt, Robert Battier, Alexander HagBerg, Matty G, Pecco, Juna Hotnan, Mason Fuller. And a shout out to our affiliate companies as well. You can see their names down there. We have written in the written description of this podcast, we have links where you can save some money. You have some affiliate links where you can make some money. If you guys want to choose to support the podcast and save some money or help us out, showing the sponsors some love shows us some love. So go over there, check it out, and help us out. All right, Maxi Shot? All right, Maxi Shot. So did you send JQ a message?
I did not, but I will send him a message. But I don't want him to join in when we're actually having a good conversation.
Okay, he says he's not doing it. He says I'm not doing it. Okay, I'm going to say, good. Okay, JQ, have a good time. Good time. Have a good time. it's weird because he was all about this Sunday, and then now he's not about it. So have a good time in Indonesia for the Asian Buggy Championship, JQ.
You know what? I want to point this out, that I think none of the NNRC drivers had a bad week at the Worlds.
No, they did not.
Pecco maybe a little bit
He was the worst
disappointed.
one.
But yeah, he was the bottom NNRC driver.
Yes.
We had how many cars we had in the main? 3.
We had 3.
Yeah, 3. Jonah was really Jonah was like one lap away.
Oh man, it was such a heartbreak. We're going to talk about that and more as we go on, but we have to hear from our sponsors. Invisible Speed was a sponsor of the podcast, was very popular this week. That's one of the reasons I did want to get JQ on there. He had a competition that we got, like, where he gave away the basic course, and then you got entered in a draw to win the complete course. His post about Ryan Lutz helped out a lot. And then his post with Ryan Mayfield, which everybody's seen the pictures, it was like JQ was holding a church sermon over there. Like, everybody was over there watching, and, like, history and people were throwing the cars. I think him and Mayfield, like, fucked each other off a few times, but they kind of respected what they had to say. And everybody was over there. So that was good for him. Go check out the Invisible Speed. We have a link for that in the written description. You can buy the book or join one of the courses as well. And that helps us out a little bit. All right, Max. So we are back home. It was a great time in Murcia. It was, Murcia is a very interesting city. If you're a single man, it is a very interesting city because, man, woo, it was some beautiful women out there. Woo, man. I mean, we kind of stayed right in the city this time. First time for you ever staying there as well, because you've been to this track quite a few times, but you've always kind of stayed like in the middle of nowhere, like kind of where, not middle of nowhere, but like,
not in like a city ever. So I counted. This was my 7th time here.
Really?
Yeah.
So you're like not excited to go there at all because you've been there so many times.
I do have to say, if I go next time, I might actually go to somewhere like Murcia, because that's like the only big city nearby. Alicante is a bit further away.
Yeah, but it's not like Murcia. Murcia is Alicante is more of a beach town. And I think Murcia is more of, it's a city. It's an actual city. I mean, like, it was madness. Like, we would, had to
every
go in a
night,
parking lot.
Carnival. Yeah,
it was crazy. Like, we went like there was like tens of thousands of people in the road. It was, I was just like, I understand why Dominicans party all the time. Yeah, that's why. Like, but it was definitely a good time in Spain. A lot of people asking food, but no, we did not eat any real Spanish food. It was like, we did find a nice Italian joint that we had pizza there that was really good. But we would get home late nights and not able to get out. Not late nights, but just no time to sit down and go out and do that. And a lot of that.
No, but the thing is, of the restaurants that were there, not very many were Spanish.
So. Yeah, it was Burger Kings, and that, like, the Italian place was really good. So we definitely enjoyed it. We shared a room with Salty Joe. You got the cot. We got the 2 beds. You and I snore like lumberjacks. It was fun. I mean, we had a good time. It was a bit of a drive, like 30 minutes, but we got it done. We stopped. We had a little routine where we'd stop and get coffee, and we'd have to get your bread and your hummus and all that stuff, because you did, vegan Max doesn't eat anything at the track. So it was good. That part of it was good. We were busy from Saturday to Sunday, and it was a good time out there in that sense. We didn't get to do much. We did go to dinner one night with the Terra guys, which I thank you. The food was great too there, and it was like Italian Mexican restaurant.
Yeah,
the food was great. We hang out with Kim and his wife, as well as Martin and Klaus. So good times. Klaus. I'm thinking of Klaus from Umbrella Academy. All right. Topics of this podcast will be the IFMAR 1/8 scale IC Off-Road World, September 8th to 14th, took place at RC Redovan, Alicante, Spain. There was some drama that went on. I think that was what spiced everything up. We'll save that to the end. We're going to have a full recap of that, and that is going to be brought to you. But first we do that, we're going to get into some high-tech news real quick. And I want to say a big thank you to High-Tech for their support of this as well. They helped us get there. You can go check them out in our written description. They just dropped their new charger. I'm using their chargers. Max is using their chargers. David Runfuck uses their servos. So go check them out. High-Tech are definitely a brand that's been around for a long time. and help us out. Go check out the links in the written description. Thank you to High Tech for all their support. All right. So, man, I hate to say this. We might as well rip the Band-Aid off right now. You know what I'm saying, Max? We're going to piss people off with this comment, but Ongaro has as many 1/8 scale world championships as USA does as a country.
Yeah, let me actually
let's bring this up.
Show you guys this. So it's your Wikipedia graphic, so don't get too upset about this. But we already obviously go back to 86.
Mm-hmm.
And from there on, the first American ever to win it. And I think, considering how much shit he talks on Facebook, like you would never expect this to be the case, but it is Rick Nagani. He was the first American to do it ever.
2002, Punta del Este.
2002, yeah. And then after him, it was only a 4 years where Pavlidis took it in Indonesia. Yeah. And even here, actually, Indonesia was a interesting case because
a lot of the fast guys didn't go.
Well, not really a lot. There was maybe 3 or 4 fast guys that didn't go.
Well, that's the Mayfield, Tebow, Cav didn't go.
Yeah, but at that time, they really wasn't the fastest in 8 scale.
They were coming. Good. I would say
they were coming. Yeah,
they were still 8 scale guys, not 10 scale guys.
But the big story of that year was that pretty much everyone led that main at some point. Mm-hmm. So you can talk to Courts, you can talk to Degani, you can talk to almost any of the guys. Yeah, Yannick Igon. You can talk to almost any of those people who were in that main, and they said they would have won it if they hadn't broke. So, so like most of the people in that main broke, and Pavlidis ended up winning it. But that to be said, the track was really rough. It was really tough for the cause. So
yeah, there's actually some good video of it. There's some good video of the 2006 done by Ray Wood. Let me see. Hara wins it in 2008 in the USA. Cody King wins it in Thailand. Battier wins it in Argentina. Tessman in Italy, where Mayfield was leading up to like the 28-minute mark when he had a servo go. Ronafog wins it in the USA in Vegas. Ongaro in Australia postponed. Ongaro in Redovon again. Congratulations to Davide Ongaro. That fucking guy is a machine, dude. 3-time world champion in that class. Actually, I wanted to bring that up. I wanted to see how many different countries and stuff have won it while you do that. So I don't think people really understand how much of a feat that is when you have to put it into comparison. Okay, yes, the Raw block has 4 world championships, but remember that was won by Ty Tessman, who's a Canadian. So United States have.
This is most representative finals. Yeah. So wins by nation. Italy has 5, but it actually has 6 now. Japan has 4. United States at 3. And then Canada, Sweden, Spain, and Germany all have 1. With France.
Really? To Spain? Oh, yeah, because Robert. Yeah. So.
Yeah. So pretty much, Ongaro has exactly the same amount of 1/8 scale world title as the whole of United States of America.
Don't be mad at that. That's just how it is.
Yeah.
There's
if
nothing to be ashamed about.
If we look at this through the blocks, Femke and Roar are both at 4. Obviously, Canada, Roar block. So, yeah.
But Afra has 10 wins.
Afra has 10, and Femke and Roar both at 4. Yeah, it's a tough one for the Americans. Considering
I would say. Fact. I mean, yeah, it's a little bit tough for them. I think a hard pill to swallow.
And actually, Efra has 11 now.
Okay,
because that's still not updated after.
Okay, so
last week.
That man, so Ongaro just came. He walked away, dude. That guy just kicked everybody's ass. Like that's there's nothing that can be said about that. It was I said it was a boring final because it was boring for spectators, but it was not boring for Davide Ongaro because he just ran away with that shit. And the best guy deserved to win. We're going to get into a little bit why we think that happened and why that didn't happen in a little bit. I have some theories. Max has some theories. All right, J Concepts, new secret tire. Let's see the pictures, dude.
Yeah, let me actually bring that up. So during the event, Paul kind of slipped up this to me, and out of respect, because he told me about it, I didn't post it during the event. But I think, after the race is gone now, it's different rules. Different rules, and also I have to say that there are pictures of this tire online.
So,
but I wanted to talk about it because I think it was interesting. I do believe this was the tire that J Concepts guys ended up running at this race.
Okay.
So let me just pull it up.
What were they calling this tire?
This is called the Overdose.
The Overdose. That's what it was. Check it out.
Yeah. So if we look at it, much thinner bars.
Mm-hmm.
So you have much tighter pattern. Very different. Like in some senses, very similar to other stuff, but like very unique features.
Mm-hmm.
And
very square carcass as well.
I do think that is because they have cut the foams, and actually now that I talk about the foams,
you can see,
you might be able to spot that blue color in there.
Is that TZO foams?
That is not TZO foams, actually.
Oh, okay.
That is new J Concepts foam. I do not know what it is. Is it harder? I would expect it to be harder.
We saw Fen putting them in, and somebody asked about that when you was all up in Fen's, when he was doing the walkabout, and he was all over his car.
I do believe most of the guys ran them towards the end of the event.
Okay.
I do not know what the difference is, so I cannot say for that. I never asked about this.
Overdrive, say. Interesting.
Overdose.
Sorry. Overdose.
Yeah. Kind of goes along.
I was going to be rude just now, but I decided not to.
Kind of goes along with the detox, the rehab.
Yeah. Like some drug theme going on there.
Yeah. So a very interesting tire. I imagine these could be one of those tires. Canas obviously opted for the diamond, the double bars for most of the race. In the main, I am not actually sure which one he ran, but I do believe that Fend and Fuller ended up running these at the end.
Okay.
I'm not exactly sure what Jona.
I think in A1 though. I think they were in A1 compound as well.
No. They were clays.
Really? Okay, they went out on clays finally.
Yeah.
Do you think
so? Yeah. So most guys, because let me bring this down so you can see me explain. So most of the race, these guys were on A2s. Most of the guys for most of the race, it was in A2s. For qualifying, a lot of the guys switched to A1s. Canas went to the last seeding round, he went to A1s, and most of these guys went to A1s after that. Then one issue they had that the double bars A1s package had been lost. So they only had like one box of A1s, and obviously they had planned for more, which was gotten lost in the mail. And that was an issue because towards the end of the qualifying, a lot of the team guys were told that we won't have enough of these for the mains if we keep using them. So they had to be sure that they'd have, and then they switched to other tires. Fend actually ran these overdoses for a lot of the time. Really fast with them, as we see from qualifying. Still on A1s, I believe. Then to the finals day, the J Concepts guys were actually one of the first ones to go to clays. If I'm not totally wrong, I think they even did that at the end of qualifying. But at least they did it on the lower finals day, whereas Hot Race was kind of still on the between of do we go softs, do we go clays. Matrix was actually the lastest one to go to clays. Ongaro ran the semis with softs. He only went clay for the main. So that was an interesting fact. J Concepts are the first to go to the clays. Well, maybe I'd say Seismic was the first to go to the clays.
Right, because Jonathan had a whole bunch of the Seismic tires stashed off. That was like his secret weapon, but it didn't really work.
I don't think he ran Seismic at any point. Maybe on the semi-practice, but yeah, he ran Hot Race for the main, whereas Bruno ran Seismic.
Yeah. They needed some Matrix tires.
yeah, kind of. But I do think the fastest tire out there was J Concept.
Yes.
That's my.
That was evident. That was evident in Q6. Like when.
And I think
I have a theory about Q6 that I'm gonna share, but absolutely.
I think
it was tires. Tires was the battle, right? I'm sorry.
I think especially in the mains, when they went to clays, J Concepts was, in my opinion, the fastest tire. Sismic was good, but not like it was good at the Euros. That's my sort of interpretation.
Not that enough to make you go drive to France to go get them.
Yeah, no. And not enough even for David to go to switch them. He stayed on Hot Race in Leon.
Right.
I do think Hot Race was the overall best tire in terms of speed. It's hard to say about Matrix because the only guy who kind of ran them at the highest level was Ongaro.
Yeah.
And, he won the last Worlds with AK where pretty much no one else ran AK at that time. So it's like, it's hard to gauge anything off of him. But they for sure lost at the best. I think that's
absolutely.
no
You can see the pictures.
Okay, actually, Sismic had really good tire wear too. I have to say that. So Matrix and Sismic had good tire wear. I think J Concept was the fastest. I think the Hot Race was overall the best tire. So that's my assessment. Of
I wouldn't argue.
Visit that. Yeah, but expect some cooler tires to come out of J Concepts according to that. Shall we move to the next one?
Yeah, we had a Hot Race interview with Nicola.
Yeah.
And he's moving into the American 10 scale market.
Yeah. So
he actually said he might be at Carpet Championships. So
I didn't. Okay, that's actually interesting if he's coming there because they already had slick tires on display. He said they're going to make new compounds for American 10 scale Indo, and they were going to come out with carpet tires. So I'm kind of interestingly expecting what's going to happen with that because in America, J Concepts has taken huge strides in carpet. And most of these guys actually prefer J Concepts on those carpets compared to Schumacher tires, which is the number one in Europe, has been for a while.
Do you want to listen to what
let's hear it from the man himself.
10 scale slick tires for dirt indoor races and also carpet tires, specific 10 scale in Asia and also to grow in the product in Europe, in Asia, and also in US. For US, we are making the 10 scale slick tires for dirt indoor races and also carpet tires, specific compound for US. And for next year, I want to try to push a lot on 10 scale, and we also get a new driver that is focused on 10 scale racing, but I cannot say now who is the driver. And we are working very hard with the 10 scale tires now, especially with the slick dirt tires. And yes, my plan for the next year is to focus a lot for 10 scale and in the US to do more races in US, and of course keep continuing in Europe and try to do more in Asia. I want to go to Pienville next year, and because I've never been there, everyone see me, it's the best race, so I want to be there. I want to be there to enjoy my work and to also show.
Yeah. That was pretty good from Nicola.
I was trying to get him to spill the beans on who the driver would be. He would not tell me.
Yeah, I didn't want to ask too much because I think at this point still a lot of races to go. But that's actually a big thing. So who do you think? I mean, let's not play it now, but it could be almost anyone from this.
I think it could be Cavallari.
I think Cavallari is the most obvious because he's probably has to quit 8 scale after this race, which we'll touch on later.
But Jesus, Max.
But yeah.
All right. Yeah. That came to mind as soon as he said somebody. We had some other silly season news too that we're going to talk about later on. Maybe we should talk about that in a Patreon only podcast. This is some big silly season news. Big silly season news. I think we should put Patreon. I think we should put silly season behind the Patreon.
That's good.
That would peak. That will get me back into the Patreon. That will get me back into silly season. All right. Marco Barufalo disqualified. So I heard this like smack, like coming out of pit lane. He was calling the race. I looked up and I saw Marco's car in pit lane. Apparently he smashed into the boulders or whatever. Liam was telling me because it was good to meet Liam too. Because Liam watches all this stuff. And apparently they were battling the field and they must have got hit him or something. And then Marco lost his cool and just smashed him. He gave him a Marco smash. I don't know the whole allegedly. We're using allegedly a lot in this podcast.
Yeah, well, I didn't see what actually happened. I just saw one car like going out of pit lane, and then another car
I just
going
heard it.
really, really freaking fast to the fence. I saw people jumping back, and then I was like, "What the hell happened?" And then I went to watch in the driver's stand through the door, and I saw Marco just like, I don't know if he was shouting or just walking off the driver's stand. Because I initially thought it was
Nicola was so mad at him.
Yeah, I'd imagine but I initially thought it was like a radio failure, because I asked the other people who was there.
It was a signal failure, that's for sure.
Yeah, but that's what it looked like, because he went full beans into, I guess, the rear end of the car. I didn't see where he hit, but I just saw the car hit the fence at full speed out of pit lane. So if he got disqualified, I imagine there was no radio failing.
He apologized on his Facebook today.
He did. So, yeah.
I felt bad for him, but I think he got DQ'd. What else did we? I think that was really interesting was Drake only got driver doing 10 minutes. You got a little spy shot of his car, and we didn't post it up, but I guess we could post it up because I saw him walking around with this openly, and I thought this was brilliant. His 10-minute stops didn't help him get into the finals or anything, but probably it really helped him out. He's easy to go. I remember Nick was like, he's not going to go 10 minutes. I'm like, dude, this guy has been 10 minutes every race that I've been to. Like, he is going to go 10 minutes, and he did.
Yeah.
So do you have it there, or?
I don't have it on my computer. Let me actually.
All right. While you do that, we're going to go take a quick break and do some promo as Max finds the secret, one of Drake's secrets right there. A big shout out to Tony Schumacher and the lads and AJ Schumacher there at the Nitro compound there in Maricopa, Arizona. That's right. Coming up October 18th to 20th, 2024 is the AZ Oktoberfest 24. Check it out. Friday is open practice. They have classes like novice, short course truck, sportsman, nitro buggy, e-buggy, and nitro truggy, open nitro buggy, truggy, and the various other classes. They have a TZO spec tire buggy class, which I think is great. The main sponsor is MG3 Racing, and they are going to have a great weekend there. It's a beautiful track out there. I would love to get out there and I'll be a part of this race. I know that Ryan Mayfield's going to be there. Rivkin's going to be there. FCJ is going to be there, and a couple other fast guys are going out there to race. Heckert's going. So if you want to go to a race, check it out. The Nitro Compound, Maricopa, Arizona, AZ Oktoberfest. Check them out on Facebook. The Nitro Compound, check out their track. It's huge. It's beautiful, a beautiful track. And I'll go check it out there with Tony Schumacher and AJ Schumacher in Arizona. All right, Max, did you get the such said documents that we were looking for? All right, let me add this to stage. So check this out.
I think this is brilliant.
Do you think he was using it?
He said he'd never used it during qualifying. Mm-hmm. He only used it during seeding and so on. Maybe in the mains, who knows? I didn't talk to him after about this.
So basically, tell people what he was doing with this. So
basically, he can turn it off.
It's a fan, by the way. Sorry to people who are listening to this. You got to come over and check it out on the YouTubes. It's a fan, a little ESC fan on his motor.
Yeah. So he basically has a little ProTech fan attached to his radio box, pointed towards the motor or the engine,
mm-hmm.
and I guess he's plugged it in one of the receiver like channels, so he can turn the channel on or off, which turns the fan on or off, and he just basically feels like, okay, my engine's going a bit lean, let me turn the fan on. And then, okay, the tune is now good. I didn't turn it off.
That's pretty brilliant. Like, I think it's brilliant.
And when you look at this, when I first saw it, I was like, this is so dumb, but so genius at the same time.
Yeah, why didn't I think of this? That's probably what you was thinking.
Yeah. Oh, of course. But I bet there's going to be a lot of people bolting fans to their cars for sure.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. All right. So what else?
That being said, though, I think there really isn't anyone who is, well, I don't know if crazy is the right word, but I do think crazy enough to do this, because Drake is the type of guy who he's always looking for something sort of out of the box. And this definitely is out of the box.
Definitely.
But it's so brilliant that I think it has to be shared.
Absolutely. When I saw it, I was like, that's amazing. Like, why didn't we think of this?
Yeah.
You know? But good stuff. All right. So now we're going to get into the nitty gritty. We're going to do our recap. And that is brought to you by Corsatec USA. Corsatec USA is your one-stop shop for all things Corsatec in the USA. You can purchase all the Corsatec range of products for your nitro or electric-powered systems and accessories used by world and European champion Robert Badier. Established in 2022, Corsatec was founded by Adrian Pertine and Oscar Jansen. This is made by racers for racers. Check out Corsatec USA, all available here. You can find a link for Corsatec USA in the written description of this podcast. Thank you to Hefty and everybody at Corsatec USA for their support. We greatly appreciate it. All right, dude. Let's get into this. So, man, first off, before we get going, I just have to say a big thank you to the people that made this possible. And that is Latara Racing. And Max is going, I don't know what's going on with his camera. It's Latara Racing, High Tech USA, Donathan RC, Ultimate Racing, Fly Sky, Techno RC, Truth Motorsports, Call RC, and Elite RC Productions. Dude, I remember when we kind of was thinking of going over her. Well, I was going, and then the thing was to get you over her. It was like the best thing we could have ever done. So a big thank you to those companies. A big thank you to everybody that supported us. We got some super chats in there. We have lots of content up. We have an interview with Rona where he talks about his thoughts on the American racing and why the Americans and, you know, on the back foot and all that stuff that we're going to put up later. Max did it's like a 50-minute interview. All that type of stuff. I want to say a big shout out to this dude right here to my very left. He kicked ass. He went above and beyond. He doesn't have any safe words. He just went. The only interview you missed, everybody's like, we didn't get fend on the last interview of the drivers, and he was nowhere to be found. But congratulations, Max. Congratulations to all the media that was at this race, because there was a lot of media up there. At first, everybody was a little bit kind of, you know, just trying to do their own thing, and then we all kind of came together for a lot of things and talked about a lot of things and shared a lot of information. You spent a lot more time there than me. I was up top working with RC Racing TV. A big shout out to RC Racing TV, working with Matt and Nick and everybody. Once again, the guys are super passionate about what they do. And yeah, it was awesome, right? Awesome week. Lots of work, stressful, lots of work, lots of late nights, you know, Salty fucking me off because I don't want to go out and eat and stuff like that. But it was fun, man. And I think people really appreciated what we did. So good job, Max. Congratulations, dude. So we all met up on Saturday. We was all excited. We got, you know, obviously Salty Joe and I went to the track and got our credentials. And then we got home to the airport. But let's talk. Like, you have a picture of the track, so I'll put it up here. The track that we went to for the 2024 World Championships at Redovon got some criticism. It did get some criticism from people. You know, people were not like, oh, it's the same track, and you know, we heard a lot of that. I will say, let me put this up as big as I can. I will say that this track, while lots of things were similar, the same, like pieces of the track were very the same, they ended up making a track that was faster, and the surface threw everybody for a loop besides certain people. Like the traction that was at this track, they were expecting in 2022, and they didn't have it right away. And that was the big talk. And you can hear in your interview with Ryan Mayfield, that is on the YouTube and should have way more views than what it has. He says, like, this track is faster than what it was in 2022. So that's my thoughts on that, Max. Still a lot the same, but a different track altogether. Your thoughts?
I think sort of the most interesting factor of this track was how different it was to last time, even though everything was done pretty much the same. So even the Europeans were saying that this is so different, like so weird, and they all had to adjust their setup. So it wasn't like, oh, Americans are off. It was like everyone was off at the beginning. In terms of layout, I do think this was one of the more entertaining layouts at this track. But that being said, it was also one of the worst for racing, I have to say. like wheel-to-wheel racing was really, really difficult on this track because of all the 180s, the elevation, the switchbacks and so on. Well, there wasn't really very many points where you could overtake or get side by side with someone, but there were like many points where you could accidentally take someone out. So, yeah, it's hard to say like what they should have done differently. It's so big, so you have so many opportunities, but I don't know. I think could have been better, but it was also really great.
I'll be honest with you, it wasn't the complete like I was expecting a complete change, right? And we didn't get that.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna put up a video of this while we talk about it from us. You know, I know how hard it will be to do a complete change. So, but I expected that, right? And we didn't get that, unfortunately. But that's how things go, right? And it was the surface that threw people for the biggest loop. I'm 100% sure of that. And people just it was hard. People can't like people. I had a lot of comments like this is just on-road. Yes and no. It was very on-roady. I get that thinking. You know, as we watched some laps of Jonah Wilson, who I consider one of the best, who just was on the struggle bus the entire time there. You know, a very fast track, man, and it just got progressively faster. And things that worked last time weren't working for him. I mean, like diff oils and all that type of stuff. As you can see, John, I'll go forward. Let's see what else I have in this. I have Mason Fuller, who was the most impressive American. We're going to talk more about the Iceman here. I think this is him. Should be him. It might have been Majubi or something. But that's Fuller. And these guys are like, we're talking about one of the fastest racers in the world, you know? And yeah. The first day we started seeing those divots in the track. That was interesting too. We didn't see that in 2022. Like the track didn't break apart as fast as it did. And I guess that's from where they had to resurface it. And they got it patched up. And I knew once they patched up there's areas, because every night the guy would go out there with the glue and water mix and patch up every little hole. Every time you patch that up, the cars will go over that and they take that glue along with their tires and it goes around the track. Remember that?
Yeah. And it was because this was kind of the thing they did at the Euros as well, where they patched up the track. The difference was, though, that at the Euros, they patched it up in the morning. So the track was still all in glue when the first heats went out. But here they patched it during the night. In terms of the surface, though, the interesting factor was between the Europeans and Americans was that because it was so high grip at such high speeds, the Americans were like totally like out of it.
Yeah.
So it was like crazy because last time out, the grip wasn't actually that high. Like most of these guys went out with like pin tires at that time, and they went out with, you know, long wear softs and stuff like that. Whereas this time out, you know, thread tires, clay compounds, all of that stuff. So it has changed a lot in terms of the tire game. And then on top of that, the track was more grippy. But to be honest, I think if these people were on these tires 2 years ago, I don't think it would have been that different. Like, I don't really see how it would have been different.
All right. And what do you mean by that? Like, explain.
Yeah, because I think the tires we are running now offer so much more grip. So the amount of grip you have now in the cars, on the tires, in the stuff like that, is so much higher than we did 2 years ago. Right.
Okay. All right, yeah. I get you. Weather. It was hot for the first couple of days, but it cooled on. Windy, dusty. That was the thing. Lots of guys had to wear sunglasses. I'm sure a lot of guys probably wish they would have bought some goggles because we did have gusts of wind coming up there and dust hitting people. But for all, it stayed good. We did have a little bit of rain one night when we was going home. It's like, oh, what if it rained? It would definitely be awesome. But yeah, I think it was great weather. Yeah, it was a little warm, but it was great weather. Open practice. Let's have a talk about that. Canas, Ongaro, and Ranafalk were our fastest guys here. You can go if you wanted to check everything. It's all on Everlaps. No kind of surprise there with that top 5 in open practice. Canas, Ongaro, Ranafalk, Boots, Fend, Coelho. But I think the surprising thing is no Mayfield in her, right? I think that hit us all right off the bat. Open practice, no Mayfield. Like, nowhere near the top.
Well, no, I don't. Okay. My thought process was first day.
23rd he was. Sorry.
Mayfield could be anywhere. Second day, I was like, oh, yeah, Mayfield could be anywhere. When it was seeding and he was still, like, barely putting it in the top 20, he was 2 seconds a lap slower than these guys. Then I was like, okay, hey, something might be up. Like, it doesn't look like he's going to come back from this much.
Mm-hmm.
I was still believing going into the finals. And when he, like, almost had the lead in the quarter, I was like, okay, he's got it. But
yeah.
Synopsis was never really a full comeback from that.
Yeah.
Really
synopsis of open practice day was the track was developing a lot, which we saw. The divots in the track and getting a little more dusty. The track was, you could see that people were just struggling to carry speed through things. With the grip, it was so twitchy, right? Canas though seemed to do really good here. Canas, Joao Figueiredo, because Joao Figueiredo, even I was talking to Joao and it's like, it's as much grip as IBC, but this track is as his track their IBC, but it's just so much faster, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And it was so harder to carry that corner speed. So Canas was incredibly strong with Ongaro trailing on the first day, but getting better every second, quietly.
Yeah.
One
interesting thing was all of the associated guys, with the exception of Jonah Wilson, showed up to this event running the B3 series front-end geometry.
Really?
So the high KPI, the narrow upper pin width on the tower. And during the second day of practice, Ongaro tried the other one, the B4 series one. And because it was so high grip, I think that actually gained them a big advantage because you have the wider upper pivot of the upper arm. The wider inner pivot of the upper arm. So that gives you a lot of support, like geometric support. So you go into these corners, full brake, you try to turn into the corner, and you have that amount of grip, you're going to need some support.
Dude, something's wrong with your camera.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this. Yeah, so for them, I think it was actually a huge advantage. And it's funny because within the A team, I know they'd be testing the old stuff. Again, they'd be probably looking because they have already developed shock towers that fit the new gearboxes and have the old geometry.
Okay. You actually got a good video, a big inside scoop on Ongaro's car with this, I believe.
Yeah. So that's to me interesting because I feel like Associated was looking to come out with these parts like at the end of the year. But now at the Worlds, they go the other way around. But that being said, I do still think the old parts are better. And I think they'll be going that way for the future. But at this race, especially, the good things about the B4 series changes actually showed.
All right.
Which was interesting thing to see in practice.
All right, so day number 3, I think, brings seeding practice, if I'm not mistaken, which would have been Tuesday. And Ranafalk comes out swinging. Like I'm like, ooh, the Viking is here. Like, he's good. He's going to be, he's kind of steady in practice, but he comes out swinging in seeding practice. He takes the overall seed. With a 3, he has a 3-lap 226 and a 3-lap 225 compared to a Canasso has a 3-lap 228 and a 3-lap 225 as well. But he gets him by Ongaro, Boots, Figueiredo, top 5, Coelho, Berton, Petit, Polito, Renault Savoia, Parente, Alex Anquetin, Borak Killick, Brian Bodo, and Markin Killick, Ryan Lutz, Pecco Even. That's your top 16. So the top 16 is important because that's straight into the semis. Early American in there, Ryan Lutz. This is when Ryan Lutz improved a lot. JQ kind of said, I know what's wrong with your car. Bring your car over here. And he gave us some advice. And really, truly, Lutz improved a lot in the seeding practice.
Yeah, that was actually one of the coolest things, because I was talking to Lutz a lot during the practice, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm kind of struggling," and then he made some changes, and I was like, "Maybe you should try that," and like, maybe don't do that, and then it was like, okay, and then JQ kind of like really was like, okay, we do this, and then he did all those things and went so much faster. So
yeah, JQ liked that. He was bragging about it. Qualifying started on Wednesday. It was Wednesday and Thursday, I believe. Yes, of course it was. 3 rounds of qualifying, 3 10-minute rounds, no lunch breaks. Little bit different from, and only 3 counted. So if I remember correctly, in 2022, it was the 4 that counted. So yeah,
that's the usual way how they do it. So I don't really know why they went this route.
I don't know, understand either. It was a little confusing about it all, and finally we got 3 and 3, and I was just like, well, that kind of makes it boring. Like, I kind of want to see something go to 4, and go from there. So, but Ongaro started out very strong. I think he TQ'd Q1. Then Canas came out on TQ Q2, and I think Coelho was 3. Oh, what did Coelho? Was it 3 that he TQ'd?
No. To Coelho, it was like Q5 where he went to TQ.
Right.
So it was the second day. Coelho had not that good of a first day.
Right, because he missed.
Okay, the first round was good, but then he came into the pits. So
yeah, so he came in too early. He came in too early and had another lap, which hurt him. I mean, by all means, Coelho should have TQ'd this event, because he was on 3 TQ runs, and he made mistakes, and he did TQ a run. But going into Thursday, it was Canas, right? Ongaro came out strong and kind of looked like he kind of went on the back foot a little bit compared to Canas. And going into Thursday, it was Canas on top, followed by a few other people. But in the end, Coelho came out in Q5, which is the second qualifier of the second day, got a TQ. But Canas was kind of testing some tires. You was very excited about Ongaro. Like, Ongaro looks like on race pace and comfortable already. I think Q6. That Canas. This is my theory on this. I think Canas went out there and showed his hand too fast. So he went out there in Q6, and he was blazing fast, right? He threw the best time out of the whole day, out of the whole race, a 10:33. He was so fast, and I was like, "Fuck, he's so fast." I think he showed his hand too fast. I think that that kind of moved for what we saw happen after qualifying day, which was obviously the whole tire gate thing that started. I think had Canas just kind of backed off a little bit and not showed his hand and showed his full speed, things might have been a little bit different. That's what I believe. I'm all conspiracy theories.
Well, okay. I do like that theory. It sounds interesting and fun. But Coelho's best time was only a second and a half slower than Canas's best time. Ongaro's last qualifier was, I believe, 39, and he had a 5-second mistake there with the lapped car in the pits, I believe. So I don't think I don't really go that far.
Okay, I felt like that. I think he just went out there and was too fast, and I think he peaked early. Dude, we got a picture of camera after qualifying was done. That's when we were kind of hit with the big news about Tiregate, right? Basically, it's public knowledge. Matrix. There's a lot of ifs, ands, and whats about that. I think we're gonna split this podcast up. I think we're going to split this podcast up where we recap the race, and then we're going to also record about the drama. But the drama is going to be on Patreon first. And if you want to check it out, you're going to have to go over there. I think we're going to do that because it's very good, and I think our patrons should get it first. So if you want to listen to what we're going to say about the Patreon early, about the drama, it's going to be a separate podcast. All right? We decided to do that. So obviously the Matrix drama comes up. I think that throws people into a loop. I think it's definitely got people worried. J Concepts goes home, they're worried. All the tire manufacturers are worried about it. And Matrix is smiling because they don't have to worry about it, right? Because their tires are of the diameter, don't have to worry about it. Either way, I'm going to say this. People were like, the timing was off. there was a gray area in the rules. They exploited it. I think it was either a brilliant move to try and either freeze. It's a saying called freeze the kicker in like NFL, where you basically call a timeout before the kicker kicks his field, like a game-winning field goal. I think they managed to do that, and I think it honestly rattled some people, dude. And it's like you come off this high, great qualifying, and you come into this, and then that happens, and that was all the talk for the next couple of days. We saw protests, we saw all this type of stuff. I told you that might happen. We're going to talk about all that in depth in the other part of this podcast, which will be episode 297, which will be up for Patrons early. Anyway, let's get back to the finals. Anyway, the tire rules get overruled, all that type of stuff. We go back to normal racing, and final start. We had some great lower finals. We went all the way up to the 116th class on Friday, and then we started on the 1/8. But I think the biggest news out of all of this, Ryan Mayfield was just about in the quarterfinals of this race. Like, amazing. He was almost in the 8th final.
Yeah, he was. I think he was like, what, 31st after qualifying?
That's insane.
Yeah. Crazy.
If you would have told me that, like, coming into this race, I would have said no fucking way that was going to be the case.
Yeah, like
Mayfield just about made it. Let's see. I think the whole RC world was shocked.
Sorry. He was 20.
Because you know what he did? He had this. So this is what Mayfield had. He had a 30th in round 1, a 32nd in round 2, a 50th, a 25th in round 3, a 54 round 4, a 35. And I was like, he needs a top. No, sorry, he had I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong person. He had a 30, a 32, a 50, a 13, which saved him. A 13 in Q1 of Q3, Q4 of day 1, day 2. He had a 47, and then he had a top 20. Like, his results were so up and on. 20, 30, 32, 50, 13, 47, 20.
Going into the last round, had he had some issue in the last round, he would have been like way back in the 1/8. Not even starting on the top of 1/8. He would have been starting like mid-pack in the 1/8. So,
do you think he kind of gave up a little bit at one point?
I have to say yes. I have to say that he definitely gave up a bit. Because after qualifying, when he was talking to people, someone kind of said, like, if you win, and he just responded with, "I'm not going to win."
Yeah, I think that was in one of the meetings, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So
it was when the tire meeting was going on. So
I don't know what was talking, but he was talking to someone, and I was there, and they kind of said that, hey, like, in a scenario if you win, and he just replied to that, "I'm not going to win." So I think if you have that attitude after qualifying, that you even say that.
Yeah,
I think at that point you kind of know that, I can go up, but I cannot win, which is like really what I want to do here. And
yeah, I think so a lot of people have so much faith in Mayfield, and I think him not being there was shocking to people, right? Was shocking to people. The other story we was looking at was Fenn. Fenn was also up and down. Like, he was good in practice, bad in seeding. Right off the bat, good in qualifying.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but I think seeding can be explained by the fact that they were trying stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think Fenn was actually good all the way through.
Right.
I think... Can I talk a little bit about Fenn? Because I have to...
Sure, go ahead.
Because we already talked about the lower mains. And, we can talk a little bit about who bumped well and so on. But semis, I was glued in I was in the press booth, glued into the window watching the races, and I was watching lap times, and I was like, okay, Fenn's in 3rd, he's trying to get by Berkan. He's looking really good, pace is good. Canas is sort of going away at the front. Oh, sorry, it was Joao, obviously. Joao was in 2nd. He was trying to get by Joao. Canas is taking off at the lead. First pit stop comes. People come in at 7:30. Fenn goes by for one more. Then he goes by for another lap So he goes up to 9 minutes. I believe he went to 9 minutes on that first stop. And he overcuts Joao. So I'm like, okay, that's great. He did faster laps than Canas for a while. He was actually catching Canas on pace. Both were fully pushing at that time. So he was on pace, on par with Canas, arguably the fastest driver of the event. And I think that's not even like, I think he was faster than Angara even in the main.
Oh, I'm a fan, innit? He's amazing, dude.
Yeah. But as soon as he gets out of pitch, drives like a lap in front of Joao and crashes. All that lost. Okay. So another pit stop cycle comes to the second pit stop, 30-minute bump ups. That's the same thing. The issue now is, though, cars heated up, tires have lost the thread, more tire spin, all this stuff. Pushed hard the whole pit stop to catch back that time. And he comes in again trying to do this, 2 laps later thing. And he runs out of fuel. Runs out of fuel 1 corner before the line. And at that point, I was like, in the press with us, like, that was incredibly dumb. Because he could have gone in 1 lap earlier, come out behind Figueiredo. Sure, like, take it easy, okay? We can still make it, like, top 5 starting spot. Where now he had to go through LCQ again, which he is in this race, which he actually ended up winning. But I don't know, like, the amount of risk they took to gain 1 position by overcutting.
It wasn't worth it.
I don't know.
It was like deja vu all over again. Deja vu all over again.
Yeah.
That dude had to go through we're watching the last qualifier right now. Navarro's in front with Hotner right behind. This arguably was the best race of the entire weekend, in my opinion. Navarro, many people may not know who he is. I said he's going to be fast at this race in our warm-up, in our podcast. He was leading this race. He makes a big mistake. Oh, wow. That was Rivkin who got in front of him, right? Rivkin, one of the more improved racers as well, clawed his way up from a very bad weekend to a semifinal performance.
Yeah,
right?
Let me bring up some of the big bumpers. So Rivkin was actually one of the biggest guys, like one of the biggest bumpers at the top. So he went all the way from 1/8 to semis.
Mm-hmm.
At the lower mains, there were some big bumpers too. Caden Fuller bumped twice from 1/32 to 1/8. And Ogden from 1/16 to the quarters. And he was actually not that far from a semi bump either. But yeah, Rivkin, the biggest bumpers. And actually, Rivkin was one of those guys who had to fight for that spot in the semis with Lutz and Zaketin.
Yep.
And similarly,
Brandon Rose, too, I think bumped up once.
Rose came from the quarters, similarly to Jona and who else? I don't think there actually was anyone who made it from the quarters to the main, though.
No.
So, yeah, most of these guys just bumped once. But Rivkin was the guy who bumped multiple occasions. So, from the H to the semis. So, in that sense, quite an impressive showing in the finals. But, yeah.
What about Little Bump being the second American to bump right into the semis?
Oh, go straight into the semis? I think it was third. So it was him, Fend, and Fuller.
Well, yeah, sorry, third.
Yeah. So 3 Americans straight to semis. Bump. Yeah, it was, in some sense, he was kind of overshadowed in the finals by other drivers.
Mm-hmm.
But that being said, he definitely still had a good week.
Yes.
So it's like I kind of could have seen him in the main, but it just didn't all go his way in the semis, or in the LCQ, which kind of then,
Yep. It was just unfortunate for him. We have to talk about Mason Fuller, who was another one who kind of had to claw his way up. He had a round 1, he had a 10, he had a 16. Like, he was not that fast in practice. First practice, he didn't practice. He picked up a little bit, But he constantly got better. Then he does better. He has a 10 and a 16, and he goes 47, 56, right? So he drops like very up and down. But then he comes out in Q5, has a 13, and then his best finish a 6. Like, I'm so impressed with Mason Fuller able to claw his way from way down the line at some point to get up and to be in the main, like to be in the semi drive, get in there, and I think he finished 10th overall. So well done to him, dude. I think me and my buddy had a good talk about Mason Fuller today, me and Mike Hill, and I said, dude, what does Mason Fuller need to do to be better, right? Because he's good. He's so good. He's on the cusp of beating that guy, like Fenn and all that there. What does he have to do? And anything we said was he needs to go to Europe for a bit. Like, he needs to do what Cole did. He needs to do what Cole did. He needs to kind of go to Montpellier, get his ass kicked there, or try his best. Go do some of the Spanish races. Stay in Spain. He's there with JC3. He could come back over for PMB. I think he needs to just go over to the to Europe. Do it, but that's gonna cost him, right? He's gonna have to do that. He can go over there, do it cheap. Spain's fairly cheap. Go there for a few months and experience it and race with the Europeans. And I think that's what he's gonna need to get better. Like, yeah, he might not be able to do one of the big races, but I think he's one of those guys on the cusp. I would suggest that to Brandon Rose too. With a chassis like S-Works, they have the opportunity to have the network over there where they can do it. But incredible run by Fuller, and
the way he made it to the semis, the finals, that wasn't easy. He got a terrible start in the semi, was way back. I think lost at the beginning, clawed his way back bit by bit. He catch Burak and Robert probably by 10 seconds during the main because he was way back, and he ended up making it to the main through time. So finished 7th in his semi, bumped in front.
Yeah, because he was. So here's the big kerfuffle with that. Javier told us that it was going to be 6 and 6.
Yeah,
like Afra.
Yeah.
So we thought it was going to be 6 and 6. So I had people messaging me like, "Oh, we heard Mason's on time." I'm like, "No, it's supposed to be 6 and 6." So he is, and then we found out it was 5 and 5 plus best 2 time, which worked out great for him. I think one of my I talked to him yesterday. I said to Robert, I said, "Hey, one of my best memories in RC is going to be watching you walk off the rostrum as you made it into the semi and everybody cheered for you. And I felt so proud to be your friend. And I felt proud for JQ too, because another Mayako in a final at a World Championships, right? That was that was how I felt really about that. It was probably an experience that I'm glad we was there to be there for. LCQ, most exciting race. We're watching it right now. Rifkin's kind of trying to catch up to Hotman, but it's like we're at the 8-minute mark and Fenn's doing that long pit. And that's where this benefited him, because that allowed him to catch up and take Rifkin and Hotman. We're going to watch that to the end. All right, let's go on to some more stuff here. Any surprises in your semis and whatnot? I have to say a pleasant surprise was Renault Savoia being very good, and making it into the semis. And
I think, Renault was impressive in the quarters because he really got a lot of bad luck in the quarters. He got taken out multiple times. It wasn't really like he got taken out. It was more so that people behind him or in front of him made a mistake, and then they took him out for whatever reason it was,
It was the quarterfinal where Giuseppe hit him, right?
No, but I mean, even before that. So
or was that a semi?
No, it was a quarterfinal. Yeah. So in the quarters, he started out strong, but he got so many times the short end of the stick. So at the end, he made it just to fourth. A really good battle with him and Yosemite until the last corner. Yosemite touched him a bit, got by, but at the end, the referee reversed it. So
it was a full reversal. They came up and watched video of it. Sitson came up, and then IFMAR came up. They watched video, and you can see the video. And Renault Savoia was not upset. He said, "I would have done the same thing," and that was the right thing to reverse that, in my opinion. But very impressive by Giuseppe. Zankatine was fast, making it to the semis. I think that's good for Zankatine. Navarro, I expect him to be fast. Polito, I expected him to be more at the pointy end of the stick. But
Yeah, he had really good sort of beginning first half of the semi.
Mm-hmm.
He was comfortably in fourth in bumping up. Then sort of Bruno caught up, went by. But he was still in the fight for fifth, which would have been a straight transfer to the main. But then Berton, he had a tough start, so kind of the opposite. So Berton came back, finished fifth in the end, Polito sixth, and yeah, Polito just got bumped out through time. And in the LCQ we saw there, he drove straight into the pole at the start. So
yeah, another person we need to talk about is Johnny Skidmore, who is very consistent all week. Look, a 6 in a qualifying, a 6, 11, 11, a 10, a 10, and a 12. Fuck, that's good.
Yeah.
That's very good by Skidmore. Unfortunate it didn't result in a final finish like it did in 2022, I believe. But nonetheless, a good performance by Johnny Skidmore. I'd say two people that I kind of were a little bit disappointed were we didn't see, not disappointed, but we didn't see them TQ and Iran's was the Killix. So we didn't see them TQ and Iran's. They were fast, but the best result for like Burak was on the back foot at a 12, a 12, a 12, a 12, a 13, and a 13. Or Berkan had a 12. They were almost identical. We had a 12, a 12, a 12. Then he went 5, 7, 7. So Berkan found some pace day 2. Burak didn't. And in the end, unfortunately, it was Burak who was the better killer. Not unfortunately, but unfortunately for Berkan because he lost the servo on the first.
Yeah, and the thing is because Berkan actually didn't look bad in the finals. He was starting third for the main.
Right. So yeah, that's I guess
Burak had a little bit of a tougher time, but he was still starting in I believe 6th for the main final. Yeah, 6th in the main final. So to me, the Kilic brothers kind of weren't out of the race, but obviously then in the main, Berkan servo failure in the first lap, Burak flame out during the second pit stop cycle, and that dropped him off. He ended up finishing 6th, so which I don't think is in any way bad at the Worlds. I think finishing 6th at the World for anyone is not that bad. But yeah, I mean, I do get your point. We kind of would like to see them more at the top, considering what they've had before. Yeah, I think from the semis, we don't really have that many surprises. I think the biggest surprise was Marcus Carup. But then again, he was kind of there for the whole week. He was there in the top 10 pretty much the whole week.
Carup was impressive from the start.
He was. Yeah. So he was. Yeah, I mean, in the seedings, he probably wasn't the best. But then in qualifiers, he was within top 15 pretty much every round. Had really strong top 10 rounds. Made it straight into semis. He pretty much confirmed his semi spot already during the first day because he had so good first rounds. And in the semi, he was fast, but after both of the semis, we kind of learned that the first semi was significantly slower, which we were expecting. You remember we did that midday broadcast, lunchtime broadcast, and I told you that the first semi was going to be slower, and it was significantly slower.
Absolutely. As just for watching online as this is the last few laps of Hattinen, Rivkin, and Fenn, and you can see Fenn is absolutely on it, right? This was a very exciting. You need to go watch it on RC Racing TV. It's a separate video. Man, my heart was in my throat for Yuna. I was watching this. He was driving so well. Ricardo Berton, a silent 11th overall in this race. I think that was, he kind of was deserved like all weekend. I think just happy to be in there. Joao Figueiredo, 8th. We're kind of going through some of the positions here, I guess. We might as well segue into that if we don't have anything else to talk about in the semis. I think that, I'm just looking through here, some quick things. We don't have much to say about the final because the final was kind of boring, right? It was, let's be honest, it was very boring. Yeah. Unfortunately, it didn't live up to the hype that we was hoping for after such a great LCQ where we see Fenn now chasing on Rivkin in this. Anything else you want to add about semis before we go into maybe to the final? We're not going to probably spend too much time in the final, but you was very confident about Ongaro, and I want you to tell us why. So anything else to talk about before we go on?
Nothing much. I think we're getting close to those points where the LCQ here is going to get decided. So at this point, I'm like, okay, Fenn's coming so fast. Yona is taking it easy. They're catching up. So after this, we have one more lap to go.
I'm like, Rifkin and these guys need to crash.
Yeah. That's what I was hoping that, and that's what it's kind of looking like, that these two were going to come in together, which they did a bit, but
Fenn went so wide just now.
Yeah. And the thing about Fenn that really frustrates me is he shouldn't even have been here. There was no reason for him to be in this LCQ.
No, not at all. But he's here, and it's like deja vu. Yuna's out. Like, I'm like, he's got it. He's got one more lap, and I'm just like, I'm so excited up there. And Nick's watching it. He's going crazy, and I'm like, Fenn's. At this time, I know Fenn's coming after he does. Oh, that's where Rifkin makes that little bobble. Duh, so close for Yuna, so close. I think this would have done wonders for Yuna's career had he made the finals. Like, people don't know who Yuna is, but he's a very fast 10 scale racer who doesn't do that much 8 scale racing. Then we see Rifkin make a mistake. Fenn's like he's like a great white shark chasing a damn seal right now. And then Yuna makes his mistake, and we went, oh no, and then he's like, oh, we still have hope, and it comes through here, and it's just like, oh no, because only one. I think we need more cars in the final. It should be 15 now. This track was big enough for 15.
I don't know. Yes. I kind of like that it's only 13.
I think we should do 15.
Degani always says
he does, but Degani also thinks that you should move to fucking Uruguay and train for a month prior to that.
Yeah. But Degani always says this, that the guys at the bottom are just a waste of space, and that is one thing I have to agree with him. Like, imagine some of these guys from the LCQ putting it in the main. Like, realistically, Yona would have finished maybe 10th or 11th at the final. Okay,
yeah,
realistically. So does that really offer that much more value to the main?
I get what you mean, but I just like to see more people go through. I'm sorry. I wanted to say that very good job by RC Racing TV on the production here of this, which was really good. Like, that was cool how they had each brother, Nick on there, and then each guy would come up, and they're you didn't see this because you weren't watching it, but we got the main final coming on. This is on RC Racing TV as well. Let's talk about this now, Max. Do we get into this?
So let me now explain why I was so confident that Ongaro would win.
Okay, because you said that on the lunchtime show. I was all about Juan Carlos Canas. You was all about Ongaro. Let me know why.
Yeah, so you said earlier on this podcast, you said that Canas showed his cards too early.
Mm-hmm.
And sure, but to be said, when has Canas not showed his cards?
This is true.
And I think this is the key factor. So you remember JQ was on here last time saying that, Canas would have won even if Ongaro was catching him, blah, blah, blah. Canas just slowed down because Ongaro flamed out. And I said, I don't really believe that. I don't really fully believe that. Yeah, the data suggests that this would have been the case, considering Canas' pace. But based on the psychological factor of Canas knowing that he's doing all he can do from the first practice until the end of the main, whereas Ongaro is kind of waiting for those last 15 to 20 minutes. He knows that's where he's going to be at his best at any race he goes to. The last 20 minutes of the main is where Ongaro does his best lap of the event. That's the way he has proven to work on all the races where he's ever gone to, with the exception of maybe DNC. And that's down to the fact that the track blows out so much, So as long as the track stays somewhat consistent, Ongaro knows what he needs to do to be the fastest at the end of the main. And in qualifying, the way he drove, he was within pretty much 2 or 3 seconds of TQ every single round. And that is close enough where one mistake within the first 30 minutes of the main is going to mean that he is going to be the leading driver after 30 minutes. And then on top of that, we can expect him to be at his best at the last 20 minutes. Whereas Canas, especially now with J Concepts, does have significant issues with tire wear. And that's why I was so confident on Ongaro. Yes, we did not see the full showdown go to its full conclusion.
There's a mistake.
Here we have this. I think
mistake.
When Canas made this was when I was like, okay, it's going to be really, really tough for anyone but Ongaro win this race.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when this mistake happened to Canas, and you know, the funny part about this is Canas 100% made that mistake because Ongaro went on 2 wheels. No, go back a bit.
Yeah, he kind of got psyched out.
Yeah, you see, this is the whole issue with Canas. Ongaro put it on 2 wheels, and Canas is immediately out. You know, and this is
and he shouldn't be making gains off of that.
Yeah, and you remember that time we talked about Fend and Ronnefolk at DNC with JQ. Mm-hmm. Every time Fend could even see David or see him make a little bubble, he would make a mistake on his own. And I think this is one big thing that people kind of miss out on some of these guys. There is a reason why drivers like Ongaro end up winning so much. There is a reason why guys like Mayfield end up winning so much. And there is a reason why we see Canas having these crashes and mistakes that end up giving the win away to Ongaro so much. Same that happens to Fend, you know, giving that win away to Mayfield so much. And I think the reason is that the way they drive is they show their cards all the time. Every time they go on a track, the way they drive, the way they set up their car, they drive it at 100% or they don't drive it at all. You know, that's their 2 modes. Whereas Ongaro and Mayfield, they always know that, okay, in this corner, I can go a bit faster. On this corner, I can go a bit faster. If I do this pace, it's going to be enough for me to win. If I do this pace, I know my fuel's going to last. Another thing, Ongaro never does anything stupid, you know? Well, you can never say never, but very rarely we see Ongaro do anything stupid. He had to push that first pit stop cycle. He had to lead. It went close. It was 7:20 when he came in. He knew there's no way I can do an extra lap. There's no way. I cannot do more than 8:30. And 8:20 is too close, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they came in a lap earlier, and that locked them in for one more pit stop than Canas. Okay? And that type of move, you have to know where you are, you know? That type of move is something that you consciously, you know, make. You are like, okay, we are so confident in what we do that we're not going to take the risk, you know? Fenn took the risk in semis, flamed out. Canas took that same risk here in the main, flamed out in the second pit stop cycle. Sure, both of these guys knew they had plenty of mileage, better mileage than Ongaro, but they knew that they was going close. They went too close to their mileage. And they do that because they think they have to do something to beat this guy. Because Ongaro knows that, okay, I'm going to give them a pit stop, but I will make up for it. And that is the mind game part of all this. That's the psychological factor. And that's why he's able to win all these 60-minute mains, because he doesn't make dumb mistakes, you know? Sure, maybe that's not Canas's fault, but that's sort of the mentality within his team, you know? That they have to, you know, do something. And it's like, sure, you can't blame Canas for that, but that's what separates him from Ongaro and Fend from Mayfield.
Good analysis, dude. I mean, I can't even argue with any of that because I agree with him showing his hand too much. Kind of sort of AMS last year as well. You know, he was just fast from the get-go, and then he wasn't, you know, just kind of in the main, he peaked too early. And I think Ongaro has become a master of peaking when he needs to peak. And you can see it. At this point, I'm still thinking, okay, maybe Canas can catch him up. Elliott's there. Ronafalk and Canas are having a good battle. But once Canas flames out, I'm like, that's it. Ongaro goes on to win this. I think he laps up to Ronafalk, if I'm not mistaken.
He almost lapped up to Canas.
Like, this dude just walked away with it. Like, the only way he would have lost this if this would have been a failure of some sort, like if he had a failure.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude. Like,
yeah, and just to give like iterating how good he was, you know, there was nobody close on pace. He did 2/10 fast, the best lap than anyone else in the main. His top 3 fastest was over 10 faster than anyone in the main. Top 5 faster was over 2/10 faster than a 10 faster than anyone in the main. And top 10 faster was top 10 fastest laps was 2/10 faster than anyone.
Incredible.
So he not only did he lead from the beginning, not only did he do his best lap when Canas had flamed out. That must have been so Canas flamed out on lap 29. Ongaro did his best lap of the race in lap 43. So the speed Ongaro was lapping in, he was doing 47 lows 10 laps from the end. You know?
I know.
Yeah. So it's like the way he's leading this race by a lap pretty much at this point. There's nothing stopping him from winning. And he's lapping the last pit stop, the second to last pit stop cycle. Apart from one crash, his average was clearly below, like definitely below 48.
Yeah,
so he has
to realizing he wins.
Yeah,
dude, amazing.
So this performance, in my opinion, was better than 2018, better than 2022. I have to say that. I think it was better than either of those performances, because 2022 had Ronafalk not folded at the end, he might as well lost it, you know. In 2018, sort of the biggest rival, Ronafalk, had technical issues. Mayfield suffered from Mayfield and Testament. Yeah, they suffered from a bit of a silly mistakes. And Ongaro was fastest there. He won by a considerable margin. But the way he won here was incredible. It's like, it's hard because this was probably the most dominant win we have seen in a while. Okay, Canas won in similar fashion here a year ago in Red Pond at the Euros. So in that sense,
what he has to say.
Done.
Let's see if you can
trophy
hear it.
first.
Can you hear that?
All cars to technical inspection. All cars to technical inspection.
David, it's 2 years ago. We said, congratulations, you're a double world champion. You're now a triple world champion. How do you feel?
I still can't believe it. I mean, amazing final. Juan Carlos was unlucky with the flame out, but I mean, Euros to him, worse to me. So super, super good final. I mean, I crashed only one time, I think, and the car was just amazing. My dad and Nuno to the pit were incredible. So amazing job. Yeah, really.
Everyone was worried about the hour final. They worried about how the car would be at the end, but you just seemed serene the whole time. It seemed so easy.
Yeah, I mean, the tire were amazing. We were doing the final. We didn't use this tire during all the week because we knew that we have a little bit more. So we tried to work on the car, improve myself on the 10 minutes run, and the 1 hour was amazing. Car, engine, everything was just amazing. Yes.
Congratulations, celebrate your team. Fantastic event. A first triple, back to back, world champion. You will be world champion for at least 8 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you to you guys. Thank you to everyone at home. Thank you to my girlfriend, family, everyone. Thank you.
All right. Congratulations, Davide. That comment, his girlfriend, got a lot of people talking in the chat. Dude, this guy has 4 world championships, Max. 4 freaking world championships. That's fucking impressive. Like, I think nobody can argue how impressive this is. I think people will try to take it away from him because they were like, you see all that stuff like the track and all that stuff and European favorites and stuff like that. And when we go to America, we're going to talk about that real quick after we get up here. Well, congratulations to Davide Angaro. A good run for Boots with a second place. Juan Carlos finishes third. Ronald fourth, kind of where he was all week. Bruno Coelho fifth, kind of where he was all week. Killick was not in sixth. Barkan probably should have been sixth. Robert Badier, seventh-ish, was probably where he was all week. Joao Figueiredo should have been higher because he was like fifth and sixth most of the weekend. Carup kind of were like a good ninth. Fuller, I think, should be happy with a 10th. Barton, Fenn, not happy. Should not be happy with 12th. He should be doing better than that. And unfortunate for Barkan Killick having a servo go out. Yeah. Snooze fest of a race, but an exciting race nonetheless. We'll cover all the drama and all that stuff in the next show 297.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Was one thing I do want to talk about the main. I don't know if you can play either of these videos I put up there.
Yeah, let's add this one. Let's turn the volume on.
Yeah. So here we have a video of Juan Carlos Canas. I think this is under like 3 minutes till the end.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see, he's struggling here, and Boots goes by. And as we get closer to him, that's his tire.
Yeah.
And that tire, that's not coming unglued. That tire is not coming unglued. What's happening to that tire is that it's worn out so much that the tire pretty much has broken. It's worn so much that it has a hole. We have another video here, if you can play that one as well. This is of Mason Fuller, a minute or so earlier. Coming through the track with a similar issue. So right front tire coming out, not the glue is still on, but the insert's visible. It's going off. So just let me actually show a picture of what this looks like, because these two weren't the only ones. There was 3 J Concept tires in the main, and last one was Dakota Fend, and he ended up not finishing the main because of the fact that, as we can see here, the rear
he had a blowout, a literal blowout
tire of his car. Yeah, so he went to the end of the straight. I don't know if you guys can see here, but the carcass has a little bit of a gap here. So it wears out in this one section. And whilst he was going down the front straight, the whole tire just blew. Like there was a huge flap. He spun at the end of the straightaway, and then he ended up there. He probably could have finished, but Fenn was first to go, and this was about 8 minutes, I believe, from the end. If I don't get that wrong, let me actually check this just to make sure.
That's amazing.
54 minutes. 6 minutes. 6 minutes. 6 minutes till the end. The interesting bit was though that Fenn was the only one going out with the rear tire. The 2 others with the front tire. So this talk about tire wear, tires not going to the attack, and people having to make tire changes. I don't think Canas would have been faster with the tire change. I do think that he would have still been faster even though had a broken tire at the end. But with that amount of tire wear, with those tires, they probably would have needed a tire change. So
yeah, it's crazy worlds. Not like I said, not the best made, but crazy leading up to it. Congratulations to Vidi Angaro, dude. Like I can't to him, Associated, Matrix, everybody, his team, they did it, they rocked it. And I talked to him. He says, like, I want to come PNB, I want to come AMS. He understands he has to come to America. I'm looking forward to it. I guess.
Yeah, and just
all right, go ahead.
Just to not leave any false ideas out there. These J Concept guys weren't the only ones that weren't bald on the tires. Every single guy was completely bald on their tires. And I think even Berton, if I'm not totally wrong, his tire was also similarly broken, the rear one, and he finished like that. I could be wrong, but that's what I saw in one of the pictures. I don't have it here now, but and also some hot race guys were really close. David, he had a huge blister on his tire, kind of like an F1 style. Almost went through the tire. So yeah, crazy. It's crazy what this class has come to in terms of with these tracks, with these tires. And let me state it clearly here. Had we been running like double downs like Ongaro ran last time, or Amazonia or stuff like that, they wouldn't have worn down to this extent. You know, they wouldn't have worn down so that you don't have anything left, you know, at the end. You would have been slick, but you wouldn't have been having the foam come out.
Absolutely. Amazing.
So
I think this comes from, you know what? We need more 60-minute finals. Dagani says it all the time. Yes, they do it in America, but I couldn't for the life of me understand why the URS was 45 minutes. I think DNC should be 60 minutes. I think Silver State should be 60 minutes. I think PNB should be 60 minutes. And I think that would help more 60-minute finals. But then again, we're not racing on a track like this. But you race, you practice how you race, right? And racing is part of this. Max, we'll come back with a wrap up done by Techno RC and Hot Race. I think that's it. We have to talk about this. Now we have to go into our picks, our biggest losers and winners, and then of course we're gonna switch it all over and talk about all the drama and everything on a separate podcast. So anything else left to say before we move on?
I don't think so. I think that was kind of the worlds in terms of racing.
Yep.
Now we have all the opinions and analysis of what we can take out from this event going forwards. But yeah, you want to take a look at the picks? I think you should take a look at the pick. Actually, I think Roach, if he was here, he would definitely like to take a look at the picks.
We're going to take a look at the picks after this word from our sponsors.
Techno RC. Techno RC is a championship-winning manufacturer of high-performance A-scale, 10-scale, nitro, and electric RC buggies and trucks. With a worldwide dealer network, USA and Europe-based headquarters, comprehensive warranty program, and global race support, Techno RC is excellence in RC. View the full lineup of Techno RC race-proven vehicles by visiting www.technorc.com.
Alrighty, thank you, Techno, for all your continued support. A big shout out to Hot Race Tires as well for their continued support. This is the Hot Race Hot Picks. We're going to take a look at our picks before our preview show that we did. Check out links for both Techno RC and Hot Race in the written description of this podcast. So, my picks were Techno Chassis, J Concepts Tires, JC3, Mayfield, Ongaro. Whew, I was wrong. I got two right.
What did you get right?
I got JC3. Well, no, I got none right.
So I got X-Ray wrong. It was actually S-Works. So Roach got that right.
Mm-hmm.
But I did have a Hot Race right. Hot Race was the most popular.
But what was it? What was the pick? I can't remember. Was it the best chassis that would win?
No. The chassis that had most in the main.
Okay, so S-Works won.
Yeah. Then hot race. I got that one. Roach didn't have that one. I beat Ongaro, missed JC3 by 1, and then I had Mayfield there, which was totally off. But Roach had he had JC3 and boots the other way around, which was the case if Canas's tires hadn't blown up, the front tire hadn't blown up, he would have had the top 3 right. And it had like J Concept is pretty much the only thing. So, how long we've been doing this for now? I think I joined the podcast full time in 2021. And then you've been doing this since 2018. So we've been doing this for a while. You've been doing this for pretty much 6 years now, because we started at the 2018 Worlds. You remember? So pretty much 6 years now we've been doing this. Roach comes in, probably hasn't been in RC for 6 years, like after his break, and he just beats us. So what are we gonna do about this?
I don't know what we're gonna do. All I know is that once again we're gonna. All right. Well, I want to end this on one thought. And we want to talk about this before we talk on our other things. Let's talk about, and we have to have a hard conversation right now about American RC and what this means, right? Some people, this won't mean nothing. They'll be like, it's a European style track. We got our ass kicked. Wait till they come over in the USA. And everybody, like Paul Ciccarello brought up a word point, and it's like, what makes you think that the tracks are going to blow out? So the leading contenders that we know that I'm hearing for 2026 Worlds is HRCR and A-Main, right? One of those two. Maybe there might be somebody else. People keep throwing out Thornhill. People keep throwing out LCRC, but we'll see, right?
Oh yeah, I think it's not going to be HCR. I think it's going to be most likely
A-Main.
Be A-Main.
I think so.
Right now.
That track doesn't blow out. It isn't gonna make like it. It doesn't have the grip that this track has.
Like, don't people remember the Roar Nats there last year? It was literally almost like this track.
I think
maybe not as high grip, but pretty much.
Listen, dude. Listen. The Europeans are coming over. They have won DNC. They've won Silver State multiple times. It's only a matter of time before they start winning PNB and AMS and these races in the Southeast. We have 2 World Championships next year. We have a 10 scale World Championships on outdoor dirt in Australia, which I want to go to. That's a race I want to go to. That's a race I would like us to go to. I don't know how that's going to happen, but that's a race I would like us to go to and do this again. And then we have an e-buggy World Championships, the first ever e-buggy World Championships. As much as we say e-buggy pays the bills and people, we this e-buggy, it's not going to be a World Championship. Somebody's going to want to be the first World Championship. So here's what's got to happen for Americans to be competitive in this. There is a warm-up. There is a race called IBC. They need to stop saying we want to go to Portugal, and they need to come over to Portugal and they need to race that. I'm not saying you need to send everybody over there, but you need to send a Mayfield, you need to send a Fenn and some of those guys over, a Rivkin, and those guys, and come over and race that IBC. Why? Because you have a chance to redeem yourself on European soil and win not a prestigious Nitro Championship, but be the first e-buggy world champion, right? Somebody wants to have that record. I'm sure Associated wants to be 34-time world champion, or 35, but it'll be 34 by that time. We have a 10 scale outdoor worlds coming up. There should be a fucking big race at Hot Rods. There should be if there anything, there should be a Hot Rod shootout. There should be a nationals outdoors in preparation for this track. I'm not saying that these guys have to. Yes, they should probably go to Australia. Not all of them. They have to make a sacrifice to go down if they want to be competitive, because I think the Europeans can go anywhere in the world and be competitive. And that's not saying that the Americans aren't going to be competitive in Australia either, but they should be practicing like they want to go down there and win it. This is not just another race. This is the World Championships. There's a reason why America only has 3 in 1/8 scale racing. And we heard that Greg Degani talking about somebody needs to go live at Chico. I think in your interview with Jason Rona, he kind of even touches on that. And I think this should be a wake-up call for American RC.
Well, he more than touches on that.
Yeah, we're going to play that. We're going to have that. This would be a big wake-up call for you, because we're going to have another Worlds in 2022. And I'll be honest, at the moment right now, if it's 50% Americans and 50% Europeans, that's being generous to the Americans right now.
Yeah.
I don't mean that in a bad way, America. Don't get upset. Sometimes you just need to see that, that these guys are, and it's a lot of things we could go into about, but it's stuff we've talked about on a steady basis on this podcast. So
but okay,
I was shocked. I was shocked at the Americans, dude. I was honestly shocked. I thought it was going to be different, and it was not. It was worse.
One thing I still don't understand is how was it so much worse this time than it was the last time? Like, how can that be possible?
Because the track was fast and the track was just having more traction. But I don't know.
No, but I mean that to me, it really can't be that. It can't be like, oh, the track was a tiny bit different and the grip was a tiny bit better. So if you're born in wrong part of the world and driven in wrong part of the world, you suck. No, it has to be something has changed within the last 2 years. Within the way Americans race.
I don't know, dude. I don't have the answer for that. All I know is that I think that they should be going to some of these races, right? Me and my buddy Mike were having a dream today, and I'm going to leave this, and then we're going to go on to we're going to record our other podcast before the drama. My dream, like, how cool would this be if the world champion for the next 2 years, he had a chance to participate in obviously, let's say the video, he has to do AFRA. What if he could come over and do a Raw Nationals? What if he could go to FAMAR and do their nationals, their championships? And what if he could go to FEMCA? And how cool would that be to follow that journey and watch that guy go to, okay, obviously he'll probably win FAMAR and FEMCA, no problem. But how cool would it be for him to come over and like have a guy chase all 4 championships by the time he gets time to win a world championship? That's stuff we need to start looking at. That will be promotion. Promote that shit. That was just something I hadn't thought. Or what if we had a world championship that actually was based off of a series of races where everybody went to what if top 15 guys went to all 4 of those races every year? That would be the ultimate dream. We had things called like that RCGP, but that's a rant for another day. Congratulations to Davide Angaro. Congratulations on Angaro. Congratulations to the Baldo family who stepped up and did many things, obviously taking this race on such a short notice. A big shout out to all the media companies that came out and did this. It was awesome to see. Americans, we gotta go back and go to the drawing board. It's not about 180s and acceleration. It's about carrying speed through 180s and stuff like that. So awesome worlds. Glad we was a part of it. Glad we could bring you the coverage. Thank you for all the support from everybody. Thank you, Max, for all your hard work. All right. I think we're gonna wrap this up. That's all the technical stuff. We are gonna do who's hot, who's not. Winners and losers in the next podcast, and we are going to talk about all the drama, the aftermath of a lot of drama, the Lutz and Rivkin drama. We're going to look at a few other incidents. We're going to talk about the cease and desist that we have somewhat been hounded, myself. We're going to talk about all that stuff. But first, it's going to go up on Patreon for our patrons because they deserve to hear it first. And if you wish to hear that first, you can. It's going to be on the Patreon for a couple of days before we release it publicly. Max, thank you for your time. Thank you to everybody out there for all that time. Thank you to all our sponsors. There you see them. We have links for them in the written description of this podcast. Help us out, please. If you wish us to podcast a little further, become a patron, become a YouTube member. Don't forget to hit that sub, like, notification button. We're almost at 6,000. We got a lot of subs over the week. Lots of content up there. More content to come. Check it out. Hit that sub, like, share everything. Max, Lefty, Nitro's the Glory, E-Bike Pays the Bills. We'll see you in Patreon and show 297. Max, thank you for your hard work, buddy. See you in a bit. As soon as I found that outro, Max and Lefty, we're out. See you guys later.